3,000 years ago, Earth was almost destroyed. A great enemy came from the stars. They burned cities, crushed armies, and left Earth in ruins. No one remembers the names of those who attacked, but the scars they left were deep. Earth was a broken world. But humans never gave up. After the fires died down, survivors gathered in secret. They built new homes underground, hidden from the stars. For thousands of years, they grew stronger in silence. They learned to use technology better than anyone else. They became hunters, fighters, and thinkers. Now in the present day, the story of Earth's burning is almost a myth. Most people live on other planets, far from the old home. But the past has a way of coming back. On a research ship far from Earth, scientists found something strange. Deep inside an old ruin on a remote planet, they uncovered an ancient device. It was shaped like a small sphere, glowing softly with blue light. The scientists called it the memory orb. When they activated the orb, a vision appeared. It showed Earth long ago burning in fire. Cities collapsed, oceans boiled, and the sky was dark with smoke. The vision showed the enemy ships huge and terrible, raining destruction down on the planet. The scientists watched in silence. They could not believe what they saw. It was proof of an ancient war. It was proof that humans had once been attacked by a powerful alien race. The leader of the research team was Captain Alara. She was strong and brave, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Alara knew this discovery could change everything. She called for a meeting with her crew. "We have found proof of an attack on Earth long ago," she said. "This is not just history. It is a warning. The enemy still lives, and now we know where to find them." Her crew listened carefully. Many were scared. The enemy was powerful and unknown, but Alara was determined. "We will not hide any longer," she said. "We will take the fight to them. We will return the fire they once brought to Earth." The crew began to prepare. They cleaned and loaded weapons, repaired their ship, and studied star maps. The memory orb showed a path to the enemy's home worlds. These were distant planets full of danger, but humanity was ready. Days passed, and the ship moved through space. The crew trained harder. They learned to work as one. Some whispered about revenge, others about justice, but all agreed on one thing: they would protect their future. Suddenly, alarms rang out. The ship's sensors detected movement ahead. Enemy ships appeared on the radar, fast and aggressive. The crew's hearts raced. This was the moment they had feared. Alara stood on the bridge, calm and focused. "Prepare for battle," she ordered. "We fight for Earth. We fight for all who survived." The enemy ships fired first, sending bright beams of energy toward the human warship. Explosions shook the hull, but the crew held strong. They fired back, their weapons glowing with power. The battle was fierce and loud. Each side tried to outsmart the other. The humans used their speed and skill. The enemy used their size and firepower. But the humans did not give up. In the middle of the fight, the memory orb pulsed with light. It showed visions to Alara, old battles, lost heroes, and secrets of the past. She understood now that this fight was more than just war. It was a test of humanity's will. After many minutes, the enemy ships pulled back. They did not expect humans to fight so hard. The human warship was damaged but still strong. Alara looked at her crew. "We have won this battle," she said. "But the war is just beginning. We will find their worlds and burn them as they burned Earth." The crew cheered, but inside, they all knew the road ahead was dangerous. They prepared to jump to faster than light, speed, heading toward the enemy home planets. The stars outside the windows blurred as the ship jumped through space. The crew gathered in the command room, silent but ready. Captain Alara spoke quietly. "We are the last hope for humanity. For 3,000 years we hid in the dark. Now it is time to bring the fire back to those who tried to destroy us." The journey was long and filled with unknown dangers. The crew faced moments of fear and doubt, but they remembered Earth's burning and the promise to fight back. One night, as the ship floated near a strange blue star, a young crew member named Kai stood alone. He looked at the stars and whispered, "For Earth, for all of us." This was only the beginning. The enemy's worlds waited, full of secrets and threats. But humanity's fire was burning bright. They would return the pain, the destruction, and the warning. The story of Earth's burning was no longer a forgotten past. It was a call to action. The humans would show the galaxy that they were not weak. They were strong, united, and ready to fight. As the ship moved forward, the crew felt hope grow. The war was coming. And this time, humanity would not lose. The EQ. Stars outside the ship shone quietly as the crew prepared for what lay ahead. The memory orb had revealed the path, but no one knew exactly what waited on the other side. Captain Alara stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the glowing star map. Her heart beat steadily, but inside she felt a storm of questions. Would their strength be enough? Could humanity really face those who had once destroyed their home? The crew moved carefully. Everyone felt the weight of the mission. This was not just about fighting anymore. It was about hope, about proving that humans could rise from ashes and challenge the darkness that once tried to end them. Each member of the crew held memories, stories passed down from parents and grandparents about Earth's past. These stories were more than history. They were a promise to never give up. Days passed as the ship traveled through deep space. Outside, cold silence stretched endlessly, but inside the ship, a strange energy grew. The crew trained together, shared meals, and talked about their dreams and fears. Among them was Kai, the young crew member who had spoken quietly for Earth. He was still learning, but his eyes burned with determination. He believed in the mission with all his heart. One evening, as the ship drifted near a large gas giant, the ship's alarm suddenly beeped softly. The sensors detected an unknown signal coming from a nearby moon. It was not like anything the crew had seen before. The signal was steady and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Ilara ordered her crew to investigate. They sent a small team down to the moon's surface in a quiet shuttle. The landscape was strange. Vast plains of crystal-like rock stretched, as far as the eye could see, glowing faintly in the low light of the distant star. The air was thin but breathable. The team moved carefully toward the source of the signal. As they approached, they found a hidden structure half buried in the rocky ground. It was old, but it still hummed with power. The walls were covered with strange symbols, unlike any writing humans had seen before. Inside, the team discovered a chamber filled with glowing panels and floating lights. The signal came from the center, a small device, still active after thousands of years. It seemed to be a message, waiting for someone to find it. Back on the ship, Alara and the scientists worked to decode the message. It told a story of a race, far older than humans or their enemies. A race that once watched over many worlds, including Earth. This ancient race had warned of the dangers coming from the hostile aliens who had attacked Earth long ago. The message spoke of a powerful force, hidden deep in the galaxy. This force could change the fate of many planets. The ancient race had left clues for those brave enough to find them. The signal was a call for help, or maybe a test to see who was worthy. Ilara realized that this was more than a simple war. It was a struggle for the future of many worlds. The crew's mission had grown larger. They were not just fighting for revenge, but also for survival and hope. As the days went on, the crew grew closer. They shared stories of Earth, of dreams about peace and freedom. They knew the road ahead was difficult, but they also believed in each other. One night, Ilara stood alone on the observation deck looking at the stars. She thought of Earth, her home, burned but never forgotten. She whispered softly, "We carry the fire, not just to burn, but to light the way." Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered. A message appeared on the screen, an unknown voice, calm and clear, speaking in a language none of them understood. The voice repeated a simple phrase, "You are not alone." The crew looked at each other with wide eyes. This was a sign. something or someone was watching. The journey was far from over. Ilara smiled slightly, her resolve stronger than ever. "We will find the truth," she said. "We will carry the fire for all who cannot." The stars outside kept shining, silent witnesses to a story still unfolding. The adventure had only just begun. The vast darkness of space surrounded the ship as it moved steadily toward the unknown. The crew felt a mixture of hope and tension. Each star they passed seemed to hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. Captain Ilara stood by the window, watching the endless sea of lights. Her mind wandered to the message they had received. "You are not alone." Those words echoed in her thoughts. Who could be reaching out to them? Friend or foe? Or something else entirely? The days after the message were filled with careful study and preparation. The crew worked harder than ever. The mysterious signal from the ancient moon still puzzled the scientists. They pored over the symbols, trying to unlock their meaning. Slowly, they began to understand that the message was part of a larger puzzle, a map, a guide left behind by the ancient watchers. Ilara called her trusted officers to the bridge. "This is more than a mission now," she said. "We are walking a path that could change everything. We must be ready for anything." Among the crew was Talia, the ship's engineer, known for her calm mind and quick thinking. She studied the data with the scientists. One night she discovered a pattern in the glowing symbols. It was like a star chart, but unlike any chart humans had seen. The chart pointed to a hidden place, deep in a region of space filled with strange energy fields. Curious and cautious, Ilara decided to follow the chart. They changed course, moving toward the unknown sector. The ship moved slowly through clouds of cosmic dust and colorful nebulae. The crew watched in silence, feeling a sense of wonder and fear. Suddenly, the ship's systems detected an energy source unlike anything before. It was powerful but peaceful, a soft hum that seemed to fill the ship with warmth. The crew gathered in the command room, eyes wide with amazement. "We are close," Ilara whispered. "Close to something ancient and alive." They reached a small planet, surrounded by shimmering light. The surface was covered in strange plants that glowed softly in the dark. The air was fresh and filled with a sweet scent. The planet seemed untouched, a secret kept safe for thousands of years. A landing team was sent down, including Kai, the young crew member whose spirit had inspired so many. As they stepped onto the soft ground, they felt a calm energy flow through them. It was as if the planet itself was welcoming them. Exploring the surface, they found ruins covered with symbols similar to those on the ancient moon. The ruins told stories of a time when peace ruled many worlds long before the enemies arrived. It was a reminder that life could grow strong, even after great challenges. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shimmered and opened, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, they found a glowing crystal, pulsing with light. The crystal projected images of stars, planets, and beings who had watched over the galaxy. It was a message of hope and unity, a call for all to stand together against darkness. Kai reached out and touched the crystal. Images flooded his mind, scenes of friendship, courage, and sacrifice. He saw humans working alongside other beings, sharing knowledge and strength. The crew realized that their fight was not just about revenge or survival. It was about joining a larger story, one of connection, growth, and the future of many worlds. As they returned to the ship, a new determination filled them. The fire they carried was not just for burning, but for lighting the way to peace. But, even as hope grew, questions remained. Who had sent the message? What danger still waited in the shadows? And how would humanity's story unfold among the stars? Captain Ilara looked at her crew and said, "We have much to learn, but we are not alone. Together, we will find our path." The ship prepared to leave the glowing planet behind. Outside, the stars sparkled with possibilities, and the journey continued, a story still being written among the endless skies. The ship moved away from the glowing planet, carrying the crew deeper into the unknown. The air inside was thick, with questions and quiet excitement. Each person felt the weight of what they had discovered, a sign that they were part of something much bigger than themselves. Captain Alara stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the stars ahead, thinking about the future and the secrets waiting to be uncovered. For many nights the crew studied the crystal's images, trying to understand the stories of the ancient watchers. They saw worlds that had flourished with peace and cooperation, where different beings worked together to protect life. The messages spoke of hope, but also of challenges, forces that tried to break unity and bring darkness. One evening, as the ship sailed through a star cluster shimmering like jewels, the sensors detected a faint distress signal. It was weak and broken, but unmistakable, a call for help. Ilara gathered her team immediately. "We must see if someone needs us," she said firmly. "No matter the risk, we cannot ignore this." The crew prepared a small shuttle to investigate. Talia, Kai, and 2 others volunteered. The shuttle cut through space, moving toward the signal's source. The closer they got, the clearer the signal became. It led them to a small moon orbiting a cold blue gas giant. The moon's surface was barren and rocky, but signs of life were there, small plants and strange markings etched in the stones. The team landed carefully, moving toward the source of the signal, their footsteps echoing softly. In a deep cave, they found the origin of the call, an ancient device worn by time but still alive with soft light. As they studied it, the device activated and showed a hologram, a message from a lost civilization, once part of the ancient Watchers. The message told of a shadow spreading through the galaxy, a force that sought to divide and conquer, turning worlds against each other. The message spoke of hope as well. It said that when the light of the Watchers dimmed, a new fire would rise, a fire of courage, unity, and strength. It was a call for those willing to stand together and protect what was good and true. Back on the ship, Ilara and her crew felt the truth of the message. Their journey was not just about revenge or survival, but about becoming the light that could guide many through darkness. It was a mission of heart and spirit. The crew worked together, repairing their ship and preparing for what was to come. They knew that the path ahead was full of uncertainty, but they were ready. Kai felt the weight of responsibility, but also a deep pride. He had grown from a young hopeful to a true guardian of humanity's legacy. One night, as the ship traveled through a quiet stretch of space, Ilara received a private message from an unknown source. The message was simple but powerful. "You carry the flame of the Watchers, trust your heart and you will find the way." The words filled her with hope and determination. She called her crew together. "Our journey has changed," she said. "We are no longer alone. We are part of a greater story, a story of light against darkness." The stars outside the windows seemed to shine brighter, as if the galaxy itself was watching and waiting. The adventure continued with new friends, new mysteries, and a fire that could never be put out. The crew looked forward with courage. They knew their story was just beginning, and whatever came next, they would face it together. The vastness of space stretched endlessly outside the ship's windows, a silent canvas for a story still unfolding. The crew moved with purpose, each member carrying the weight of their mission and the hope of a brighter future. Captain Ilara stood at the helm, her eyes steady and full of resolve. The mysterious messages and ancient signs had led them to this moment, a crossroads where every decision would shape the fate of many worlds. The ship's sensors suddenly picked up a strange energy reading, a rhythmic pulse unlike anything seen before. The crew gathered in the command room, their faces lit by the soft glow of the control panels. Talia's fingers danced over the instruments as she worked to decipher the pattern. "It's like a heartbeat," she said softly. "Something alive, but not like any life we know." Ilara nodded. "Prepare a scouting team. We need to understand what's out there." Kai volunteered without hesitation. Alongside Talia and 2 others, he boarded a small craft, leaving the safety of the main ship behind. The shuttle glided toward the source of the pulse, entering a vast nebula filled with swirling colors and shimmering lights. The nebula's beauty was breathtaking, but it also felt alive, almost aware of their presence. As they navigated through the glowing clouds, the pulse grew stronger. Suddenly, the shuttle's instruments picked up a massive structure hidden within, the nebula. It was unlike any technology they had ever seen. Huge, elegant, and glowing softly as if it held a secret waiting to be revealed. The team landed on a smooth surface near the entrance. The structure's walls were covered in patterns that shifted and changed like living art. Inside, the air was warm and filled with a gentle hum that seemed to resonate with their very thoughts. Exploring deeper, they found a central chamber where a large crystal floated, surrounded by light and energy. The crystal seemed to communicate not with words but through feelings, peace, hope, and connection. It was a living memory, a record of a civilization that once thrived on unity and understanding. Kai reached out and the crystal's light enveloped him, sharing visions of the past. He saw worlds where different beings lived in harmony, where knowledge was shared freely and where strength came from unity. The crystal's message was clear. The galaxy's future depended on coming together, on learning from the past and embracing hope. Back on the main ship, the crew watched as the shuttle transmitted the discovery. Ilara's voice was steady. "This is what we've been searching for. A reminder that even in the darkest times, light remains. We must carry that light forward." Days passed as the ship continued its journey. The crew felt a new sense of purpose. They were not just explorers or warriors. They were bearers of hope, connectors of worlds. Each discovery strengthened their bond and their resolve. One evening, Ilara stood alone on the observation deck. She gazed at the stars, feeling their silent encouragement. A soft beep interrupted her thoughts. A message from an unknown source. This time, the message was different, filled with warmth and promise. "Together we are stronger. Together we will shine." Ilara smiled, feeling the fire inside grow brighter. The journey ahead was still full of challenges, but now they knew they were never truly alone. The galaxy was watching, waiting for those willing to stand for peace and unity. As the ship sailed on through the endless night, the crew prepared for the next chapter of their adventure. Their story was becoming legend, a beacon of hope in the vast silence of space. And through it all, the fire they carried burned brighter than ever. The ship drifted quietly through the endless sea of stars, each light a distant sun with its own story. The crew had traveled far, learned much, and yet the greatest challenge still lay ahead. Captain Ilara stood on the bridge, her gaze steady but thoughtful. The messages, the discoveries, the glowing crystals, all pointed to something larger, something beyond any one world or people. For days, the crew prepared for what they hoped would be a peaceful meeting. The coordinates from the latest message led them to a system where a gathering was said to happen, a convergence of many beings who shared the ancient Watcher's vision of unity and hope. This was a chance to build something new, to forge bonds that could protect all from the darkness waiting beyond the stars. As they approached the meeting point, tension mixed with excitement. The ship's sensors picked up dozens of vessels, each unique in shape and light. The sight was breathtaking, a fleet united not by force but by purpose. Ilara called her crew together. "This is what we've been searching for," she said. "A chance to stand with others who believe in peace and strength through unity." A grand assembly formed, voices and thoughts connecting across the void. Old histories were shared, new alliances formed. The crew listened, learning from stories of survival, courage, and the will to protect life. Kai felt a deep connection to those gathered. The journey that had started with a simple desire to protect Earth had grown into something far greater, a movement to bring light to the darkest corners of the galaxy. Suddenly, the mood shifted as a distant shadow appeared on the sensors. It was a silent reminder that challenges still remained. But now the crew and their new allies were not alone. Together, they faced the unknown with courage and hope. Ilara stood tall, her voice calm but strong. "We will face whatever comes, together. Our fire is not just ours. It is shared by many." The fleet moved as one, a shining beacon of light and hope in the vast darkness. The story of humanity's return was no longer just about one planet or one people. It was the story of all who chose to stand for a better future. And as the stars shone brighter, the crew knew this was only the beginning. The universe held many mysteries but also endless possibilities. Together they would write the next chapter, a chapter of unity, courage, and light. The journey continued, and the fire burned ever brighter.